Goodman furnace upflow, and the cooling maintenance was done yesterday. Capacitor was replaced outside, but he said the heat did not work this morning, so let's figure that out. So I've got the thermostat and a call for heat. Let's turn the power back on and see what happens. There's a draft motor. This one's got that little itty bitty igniter in the back of it. If you're in here trying to clean the burners and doing anything, you blow on that thing and it breaks. You have to be careful. But we were doing the cooling maintenance yesterday. He said the heat didn't work this morning, so I don't know. Well, the blower works because I just had the air conditioner running when I got here. I thought it was no AC call. It's actually a no heat call. So let's wait for it to cycle through and see what happens. Alright, blower just came on. Said he saw a number 4. Number 4 flash in there. We'll see what that is here in a minute. We'll check that out. Yep, blower's running. We did the maintenance for the air conditioner yesterday. That means we probably did the heating back in October. So basically March, February, January, December, November, October. So sometime in early October would have been when the heating maintenance was done. So it could already be an issue with a dirty flame sensor or a plugged up pressure port on the inducer. We're going to check them. So I'm going to check the flame sensor with my meter, and we're going to see what kind of milliamps we're getting off that. So I'll disconnect. I like to test them before I clean them, just so I can see the difference, or I can just already know before I even clean it that it is or isn't the problem. That wire was on there kind of tight, so I'm gonna put my alligator clip back there on the flame sensor. And I'm going to take my other lead, run it up here in this wire. It's just kind of loose. It was on there tight. But I'll run that wire up in there, so and connected there, and we are set for milliamps. Let's turn it back on and see how strong of a signal we're getting off that flame sensor. The gas back on. Draft motor came on, then it went back off. One, two, three, four. We may have a clogged pressure switch port. Let's see what that number 4 fault code is. Which I don't have all the fault codes memorized from one manufacturer to another. So number 4. Number 4 is the open high limit. And guess what I just saw? Oh, I think there's supposed to be two wires there. And I think this one hanging down here is the other one. So there we go. Always double check behind yourself when you're doing maintenances. Make sure your capacitors are plugged back up properly, indoor and out. And I thought maybe that's what the problem might have been. We did do the cooling check yesterday, did an outdoor capacitor on it. It's an older Goodman unit. And tested this one and left one of the wires off. Always double check that stuff, guys. Not a major thing. It happens. You just got to learn from it when it happens. And I have still done it myself from time to time. Not often. But yeah, you're in a hurry, you're doing something, especially if you're up in a hot attic. And you forget to plug a wire back where it's supposed to be. Let's make sure they're loose or tight. Don't make sure they're loose, make sure they're tight. But while I am here, I'm going to test it real quick. And that would have affected his heating and his cooling as well. He just didn't try the run, the cooling yet, because we're pretty cool this week in the 60s. And it was 43 degrees last night. So he went to turn his heat on and it didn't stay on very long. So let's go over here to microfarads and we will check this capacitor ourselves since we are here and confirm that it is good. And it's reading 11.9. I'm not sure what size that is. Probably a 12.5. So let's check that real quick. With my mirror reading backwards. Yep, that is a 12.5. So my original suspicion was correct. I just thought it was a cooling problem, not a heating problem. I figured a capacitor, when we replaced it yesterday, might have gotten wired back incorrectly or didn't turn the breaker or disconnect back onto the outdoor unit. But he said his heat didn't work this morning. So that explains it. So I'm not going to worry too much about this flame sensor since it's the middle of April. We're going to clean this thing up again once we get into the fall. So he should be good to go. So let's try it back on, see what happens. Cool that thing back down. Wait for that limit to close back. Once that limit closes back, should fire up. That's just a thing you got to check, guys. Make sure you put your wires back right. It happens. If it happens a bunch, then you got an issue. But you're going from heating to cooling as far as maintenance is and service, that transition period. But regardless, with a furnace, you're checking that blower and capacitor on the heat maintenance and the cooling. So it's getting checked twice a year. So we need to make sure we plug those back up. And like I said, I've done it before. I think everybody has done that. How many people admit to it? I mean, it's not a bad thing to even admit to. It happens. Shit happens. So let's wait for this thing to cool down and come back on. Alright, it's cooled back down. Our high limit fault has disappeared. Wait for this thing to come on. Firing up. Check the amp draw when that motor comes on. Our draft motor, 1.1, the amp rating on that is 1.2. And here comes our blower. And that was our problem. Just a capacitor wire left off the capacitor. So let that be a lesson you learn from a video and not in person. Anytime you're checking capacitors, make sure you plug them back up and plug them back up correctly, or you will be back at no cost. So anyway, guys, another short little video, easy fix. Like, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate the guys that have subscribed, and see you on the next one. You guys have a good afternoon.